am going to do the unthinkable. I am going to start our particular session today by picking these guys up. And just because somebody asked, they said, could you show us the actual camouflage version? There it is right there. There's the camouflage version of the Cybertruck bottle opener. And there is the stainless steel version right there. That's what they look like. And by the way, there's that massive magnet on the back so that it's going to hold all your stuff up on the refrigerator. And of course, a fantastic opening tool, which is why we call it a bottle opener. There you go. Okay, that's it. You know where to look down below in the description if you want the information to order those. All right, let's get on to the news from Barron's. Tesla stock has had a wild few weeks of trading, resulting in the shares almost doubling since America's November 5 election. Almost doubling. Wall Street just can't keep up. Shares of the electric vehicle maker closed at a 52-week high on Thursday at actually an all-time high in terms of the valuation of the market cap is the highest it's ever been as of Friday night. Uh, we were on Thursday, 370. Well, it ended up in Friday, 395. In April 2024, just April 2024, shares traded below 140. They were below 250 days, $250 just days before the election. 140 in April. The run has been remarkable, and gains have left the average analyst target price more than 30% below where the shares are trading. The average. Okay, that's according to FactSet. The consensus call for Tesla stock price is about 256 a share, up about 21 bucks since the election. Analyst price targets can typically be read one of two ways. It's either the price at which analysts expect shares to trade over the coming 12 months, or it's the price investors can pay to earn a reasonable rate of return. Practically speaking, target prices are typically a little above the current prices. That's never been true for Tesla, not that I can remember. Target prices aren't everything, though. It isn't unusual for Tesla stock to trade above the average target price. Tesla stock has spent about 1/3 of the past 3 years above the average target price. Like so much about Tesla, that is unusual. Apple stock has been above the average target price less than 10% of the time, maybe not back in the heyday. General Motors shares have spent almost no time above the average target price. One thing target prices show is that Tesla remains a relatively controversial stock with a big spread between the bulls and the bears. That's been true for how long? There is another way yet to measure that idea. The difference between the top and the bottom price target for Tesla shares. Removing some of the outliers is about 275, or about 75% of the current stock price. That ratio for Apple and GM shares is about 35% and 45% respectively. By that measure, Tesla is more than 2 times more controversial than Apple shares among Wall Street analysts. Anyone following Tesla stock for a while won't be surprised by the idea that Tesla is controversial. That isn't going to change. Recent gains for Tesla shares have come without any material change in earnings estimates. Current results aren't driving shares. Instead, bulls are betting that the new businesses, such as the robots and the self-driving taxis, will ramp up shareholder value in the coming years. Those business opportunities haven't arrived yet. Well said, well said. This from Tesla Roddy. After Tesla made headlines for dissolving its public relations and its media team just over 4 years ago, the company now seems to be restarting its media relations efforts with a vehicle communications manager position listed on the careers page. What? The job is located at the company factory site in Fremont, and the responsibilities include overseeing public-facing media, and that's in accordance with Tesla's products. Tesla writes as following in the job description. As the vehicle communications manager, you'll be responsible for managing all external data communications relating to vehicle programs and then coordinating efforts with external media. This includes closely collaborating with technical staff on vehicle metrics, managing external vehicle data to achieve consistency and accuracy, approving website content, and enabling external media access to assess product. Well, that really worked last week with Bank of America. Now, that would be investor relations, but, could have been media. Your work will include advising on new products, target setting, and assessing program developments as an early customer ambassador. You'll work closely with a wide spectrum of technical and business teams, in addition to vehicle program managers, vehicle technical leaders, and company executives to align on a public-facing data and to help the world appreciate the impact of Tesla products. You can see the full Vehicle Communications Manager job posting on Tesla's website. There you go. Over the past few years, Tesla hasn't had any kind of traditional public relations team, so the listing is certainly a shift from the social media only ethos that has held sway since 2020. The dissolving of the PR department was expected to be replaced with social media, and Elon Musk since purchased Twitter and turned it into X, which, while many Tesla executives have also started to be more vocal on that platform. That was true for a while. We saw a lot of activity from the executives. It has definitely, modded down. And that's not surprising. Not everybody likes to write. That's why I have a job here doing this thing that I do. Because I like to write. It's also not clear yet whether Tesla will hire more employees to work under a larger umbrella at a press department, or if the company will just keep things lean with this one guy. In any case, or gal, in any case, many investors and journalists and general enthusiasts in the Tesla community have called for Tesla to reboot the PR initiative. So it appears the company may be responding to those requests, or they're just simply preparing for its next stage of growth with such a team. Well, following the decision in late 2020, Elon Musk doubled down on his reasons for the move, emphasizing that citizen journalism and Tesla's focus on the product, you don't need the PR team. If you've got a massive, massive PR team called Randy Kirk, Larry Goldberg, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Since then, Musk has regularly defended a model in which executives and employees directly respond to inquiries on X instead of the more traditional model utilizing a press department. This comes from 24/7 Wall Street. The question is, how can Tesla stock double? In a segment from the All Investor podcast below, Eric Bleeker is joined by seven investing founder Simon Erickson to discuss the financial model he recently built to value Tesla shares. While Simon believes that Tesla's automobile business alone is worth only about $141 a share, he assigns enough value to their self-driving software and future robotaxi network to get the current fair value to about $700. For a full discussion, you can watch the whole thing. Simon Erickson, the founder of Seven Investing, recently constructed a financial model. He projects Tesla's automobile business alone worth 141. I got that already. Tesla overall sales across all Tesla cars. He figures that 141 for Tesla cars assumes all Tesla cars reach 6.3 million by fiscal 2030 and 9.5 million by fiscal 2040. The larger input in Simon's model is the robotaxi, and he's figuring that is about gives the rest of it. That model also assumes a 98 value for self-driving subscriptions. On a note of caution, this model assumes Tesla is going to successfully roll out the robotaxi network. Simon believes that even with Tesla trading at $350 or $395, Tesla is still a buy. However, with his model placing so much value on Tesla robotaxi, he would sell the stock if he saw the company wasn't doing so great in there. So what in the world? He doesn't say anything about Optimus. He says nothing about energy storage. That's already happening. He says nothing at all about potential licensing deals. He says nothing about Tesla Semi, the factories being built. I don't know. Maybe not such a great model. Anyway, this one comes from a new department I've set up here on the channel. It's the There's Always One department. And this is from Yahoo Finance. On December 5, Bernstein, I remember the Bernstein Bears. I used to read to my kids. Bernstein analyst Tony Sacchiacci assigned a sell rating on Tesla, and he set his price target of $120 whole dollars per share. Sacchioni considers Tesla's robotaxi project as risky, a risky move. and said the plan works too much on assumptions. The assumption is that self-driving technology will work perfectly. No, no, Tony, it doesn't have to work perfectly. There's already an existing company out there. You've heard of it. It's called Waymo, and there's a couple of others out there. They've already got self-driving cars out there making money. It only has to work better than Waymo. If you understand that, then you understand why the price of the stock is where it is today. He says the other assumption is that consumers will end up favoring robotaxis over owning cars. It assumes that eventually downstream, initially, it just assumes that it'll rip the heart out of Uber and Lyft and Waymo and regular taxi cabs and other kinds of other kinds of public transportation, and that teenagers will prefer it over owning a car. True. But it doesn't have to do all those things at once in order to be massively successful. Tony, come on, Tony. he says there's many other hurdles that they have to overcome, such as regulatory channels and technological advancements. Well, the regulatory hurdles by the end of the probably by the end of the first quarter, and certainly by the end of the first half, we will have heard from the UN, from the Euro world, from the United States government, and who am I leaving out? And China. All four of them are working on those regulatory requirements, and my guess is that all four of them will make the decision shortly. That's not a guess based on, oh, I just pulled it out of the air. That's because all four of them, well, three of the four have said that they're working on it, and the fourth one is the U.S. government, where I think there's a chance that NISTA will be working on this really, really hard very shortly. This is Randy Kirk, by the way. If you haven't hit the like button, subscribe button, notify button, you want to hit all of those things. You do have one more show coming up tonight. I know we're doing this late show every night. And the late show tonight is going to be Brian Wang again. Brian and I sat down. We had a long conversation about a very, very unique subject that Brian is all into right now, about about SpaceX and about some stuff related to SpaceX. You are gonna want to see this show for sure. It'll be on about 7:45 tonight, and then and then tomorrow regular programming. Who knows what's going to be tomorrow morning? But tomorrow night, we know what that is. That is Monday morning. No, the show is called Monday Morning. It occurs on Sunday night at probably around 5:30-ish, something like that, 6 o'clock. And we go into all the things that are coming up next week. You know what's coming up next week? CPI. That's right. Okay. This is Randy now. This is not from any kind of a magazine or other kind of place. This is my own words. Here we go. The world stage is shifting very rapidly in preparation for Mr. Trump to take over. It's very clear that world leaders, they actually remember who Trump is compared to who Biden is. Based on the headlines I've been reading, they portray Iran right now as kind of backing away from the world stage because their proxies in Lebanon and now Syria are crumbling. Yeah, not so good for Iran right now. Russia just ditched Assad, Assad in Syria. Russia's got plenty to contend with in Ukraine, and a currency that is just kind of falling through the floor right now. France is in turmoil with their government treading water. Actually, their government, went out of business, and now Macron has to kind of rebuild it somehow. I'm not sure exactly how all that works, but Macron seemed really happy to see Trump in Paris, helping him to reopen Notre Dame. Canada's Trudeau, Mexico's Sheinbaum, they seem pretty conciliatory right now, even though Trump has been kind of tough with them. And yes, I know Sheinbaum hasn't been quite as conciliatory. I think she'll fall, and I think she'll eventually agree. The financial press is very positive now about Trump. The political press is in complete disarray, with CNN and MSNBC in ruins. The big three liberal newspapers, the Times, the Post, and the LA Times, all three with their editors, their top writers, their top opinion people quitting. And the not so liberal owners of the LA Times and the Washington Post, and not so much the New York Times, they're kind of looking for all of them are looking for what do they have to do in order to not see these newspapers go the way of, I don't know, um, developed film, All right. Anyway, I forgot to mention there the Zelensky also. Maybe that's going to come up later. I think that comes up later. Okay. And all of this change, all of these things that are happening, all of these shifting sands, and we are only 5 weeks since the election, and we still have 6, 7 weeks to go before Trump takes office. I mean, actually, sits in the White House. This is from Money Week. Bessent, who in recent years has been running his own macro fund, 𝐒𝐮𝐧𝐝𝐚𝐲, could see the vulnerabilities in a way that most other people see in the financial markets, observed a former colleague. This is the new Treasury Secretary. I'm sorry, I didn't set that up very well. I should have done better. The new Treasury Secretaries, the Treasury Secretary nominee, who will be absolutely agreed upon. His last name is Besant. He's recently been running his own macro fund called 𝐒𝐮𝐧𝐝𝐚𝐲. And he says, and they say about him that he can see vulnerabilities in financial markets in ways that others don't. Another person who isn't named credits him with being so good at figuring out the butterfly effect. That's where the butterfly moves and that changes the wind, and then that, impacts a hurricane somewhere in the world. Okay. Certainly his pedigree as a global investor has eased the worries of business leaders and markets, says CNN. In a crowded field, he stood out, they're assuming, to Trump as the reasonable and pragmatic candidate, a safe pair of hands, while signaling support for Trump's policies and projecting the obsequious loyalty Trump enjoys. This guy's probably not obsequious to anybody. Bassett appears to deep care. I don't think any of those people. Are you kidding me? The people that he's selecting are the least obsequious people I've ever seen. Anyway, I'm sorry. It made me laugh. Anyway, they care. He's going to care deeply about containing government debt, said The Economist, and he's a reassuringly breezy take on tariffs, viewing them as maximalist negotiating tools that can be pared back during talks with trading partners. Exactly. It's escalate to de-escalate, he told the Financial Times. Duh. Reuters, Trump shakes hands with Zelensky and pats him on the back in Paris. Macron convened the trilateral meeting ahead of an evening event he was hosting to celebrate the cathedral's restoration 5 years after it was ravaged by fire. We were there not that long ago, and it was ravaged by fire. President Zelensky and European leaders have been concerned that Trump, who takes office next month, could withdraw U.S. military aid to Ukraine at a crucial juncture. It's always a crucial juncture. Every war, every day is a crucial juncture. This one is no more crucial. In Kiev's battle to repel Russia, Zelensky said that the meeting was good and productive. That's what they always say. And the three men agreed to continue working together. He's quoted Zelensky, President Trump is, as always, resolute. I thank him. We all want this war to end, and as soon as possible and in a just way. And of course, Zelensky has said, look, as long as we get into NATO, I'd even give up some territory. And Putin says, as long as you don't get into NATO, I'd be willing to go back to ex post facto. All right, this last little note from Mark Andreessen. He says, to be clear, I'm sorry. He says, I'm having so many conversations. Now, remember, Mark Andreessen walks with the Giants, okay? People call him or he calls them, they pick up the phone. I have so many conversations with people in positions of power who are exhaling in relief, and they're making changes that they've wanted to make for years. And he says, to be clear, 90% of these people that I'm talking to are Democrats because Mark was a Democrat until about last week. Well, okay, a few weeks ago. Anyway, there you go. That is the news for today. Let me remind you again to stick around or hit notify so that you can be notified that in just a couple of hours, 7:45 roughly California time, you'll be getting another video. This one will include Brian Wang, and it is, he's such a brilliant guy, and he's talking about stuff that I think you're going to find absolutely fascinating, and it does impact Tesla. I try not to do shows that 100% uh, that there isn't at least something in there that impacts Tesla. But this is mostly about SpaceX, but it's fascinating. All right. And then, as mentioned, tomorrow night, of course, is Monday morning, and the show that appears on Sunday night. And if you didn't see it earlier, what do you think we did earlier today? Well, Larry Goldberg and I, we went over, our analysis of the Cathie Wood Jobs Friday work that she does every month. This has been a big show every month. It gets better and better. I think Larry thinks it's one of the best shows he and I do every month, and we do something on the order of 9 or 10 shows a month, like 2 a week. So anyway, you might want to go and take a look at that. I'll put the card right here. And until tomorrow, then, it's been. Did I just tell you? Did I mention about going to get one of those Cybertruck bottle openers? Yeah. Okay. They're not up there anymore, are they? They're over there. Okay. It's been great talking to you.